is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, May 20th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Powell, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast about all aspects of home technology and home automation. This week we've got a bunch of new products we're going to talk about from a couple cool brands, little brands, like Sonos, Ecobee, TP-Link. Throw that one in the mix. But yeah, a couple of. There's actually a graveyard one from a very famous company. We'll have to talk about right at the top of the HomeTech Headlines. But first up, Gavin, you've got an update for us on some software. It looks like TJ and I are going to be busy after the show.
It's a big day. Unraid 6.10.0 was released officially finally today, and I'm excited. I'm a big Unraid person. I got you guys onto Unraid. I've got a lot of people onto Unraid, and it's so powerful. I highly recommend it if you ever want to get it, a home NAS, a home server, jump on Unraid. But they just released their latest version. Some of the key things, if you're an Unraid user, they integrated a My Service plugin for your flash backup and key management. Lots of security updates and changes, so make sure you read the notes on that. The virtualization updates allow Windows 11, so that's good. Integrated WireGuard is now integrated. That's really nice. A lot of Docker updates, so I know I'm a big Docker user, so I have to really pay attention to that. A lot of other little enhancements and fixes and updates, so it's a big day at Unraid. This is a major update for them, and I know I'm probably going to update my setup this weekend. It's actually painless upgrade. When you guys do your first, I don't think you guys have ever done an upgrade.
No, I was actually looking for the upgrade button so I could just press it on the show and just watch the whole thing burn down, just catch on fire over here.
You know what? It's really painless to upgrade. It is pretty much just press that button. And if you have to downgrade after for whatever reason, there's a way to downgrade easily straight from the UI. So yeah, I'll probably do it on the weekend because I got to shut down my whole house and reboot it just to get the upgrade.
I should probably do it on Friday night. Seems like the best time to do anything
when people are sleeping.
Man. Yeah, right. Do it overnight or something. Oh, that's cool. I saw there was Docker news in there, and I'm like, yep, Gavin's all over this. He's gonna.
Big Docker user.
It looks like there's legitimately some pretty cool updates. They've got it built in. The that what is it? WireGuard, the VPN thing. That's kind of taken. It's taken the VPN world by fire.
Yeah.
So if there was anything that could take the VPN world by fire, but it seems to be a little bit easier to set up than something like OpenVPN or
yeah.
It seems to be more supported too. I feel like WireGuard's on everything now, or OpenVPN isn't as much anymore.
Yeah. Well, OpenVPN is built on. It's just ancient, right? It's been around forever. And WireGuard's new. It's using all the new tech and all the stuff the cool kids like, right? And what they're doing with that, the code base is so much smaller. It's manageable. If they were to find a bug in WireGuard, they find it pretty quickly. They're still finding bugs in OpenVPN because it uses stacks and stacks and stacks of old technology. So it's nice that they're updating that. And the only thing it doesn't have that OpenVPN kind of had is a user management thing. You have to manage it's not hard, but you have to have a key, a public key and a private key to match up with the server. And as long as you got that, you're in. But that's can be difficult. Yeah. Because there's a lot of keys at the end of the day. You end up with a lot of keys, especially if you have more than one user. You start ending up with more keys to keep up with, both for the server and it's just a mess. So when I noticed there are a couple of companies that are figuring all that out and putting all that together, where you're just kind of using your Gmail account to log into their service, and they manage the keys and basically flip the switch to get you into whatever your network you're supposed to be on. So it's coming. It's not all there yet, but I think it's, like you said, TJ, it's pretty ubiquitous now. It's just popping up everywhere because it's such a lower overhead piece than OpenVPN was. So I think people are just going to migrate toward that over time.
Yeah, hopefully they just start building it into Ubiquity equipment as well. That would be really nice. Not really a good VPN option right now.
Oh, I use it, but I only do basic VPN through my Unify Dream Machine. And it's just to get me into the network to do my stuff. Like, I don't do hardcore, many users or anything like that. So,
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember with WireGuard if you have to open ports. I think you might have to put a firewall rule in. Yeah, I don't remember. But kind of the same thing with the basic VPN, like I don't know, LTPP or something like that. I don't remember all this IT stuff off the top of my head, but I've done them a couple of times, and then not the most fun thing to do. I'd rather just like click a thing and then I'm in. I don't want to go through this. Yeah, I mean, I already had a password way back there, guys.
Just export and that's why I always liked OpenVPN, just because it was so easy to use. Once you got it set up and everything, you just exported the key and you used it or the certificate, and that was it. So that was always the advantage of that. But yeah, WireGuard makes it just as easy.
There's a very popular one called Tailscale out now that makes it really easy for remote connecting to your devices.
They're using
an app. I think in the back end they are, but they manage it all, and you just install an app and log in, and you're connected. So
yep, zero config. I'm pretty Tailscale's using WireGuard. I'm pretty sure because it's really I showed this to someone who I was trying to like say, hey, this is coming. Like you should look at this, and I was like, look at this website, and then like if you're in the IT world. If you scroll down to like the second section there, they've got the like little hero image at the top. But if you scroll down to the second section, it says no config file, no firewall ports. And you say without, and it shows you this big complicated like graph thing. And then you click on it, which says with Tailscale, and it's like, here's you, and you get access to all the things you're supposed to have access to. Yes, that's the ideal world. That's what you're supposed to be. that's the way it should work. But if you're in IT and you've got a route VPN connection through 3 different routers, oh boy, things get really messy. Enough IT talk, because I don't like IT. Gross. Yuck.
Yeah, the Unraid server is almost more than I'm willing to deal with on a daily basis. So it's like,
It sends me a notice and says, I'm not dead. And if it doesn't send me the notice, I know it died. So there we go. All right, guys. What do you say we jump into those HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right, somber music. Japanese audio equipment maker Onkyo Home Entertainment Friday filed for bankruptcy in the Osaka District Court with total liabilities around 3.1 billion yen, which is $24 million or probably 3.1 billion Canadian pesos. I'm not sure how the conversions work there, Gavin, but it's definitely going to be more. The Osaka-based company was delisted back in August as it was unable to keep pace with the changes of how people listen to music as users shift from audio equipment like compact stereo systems and receivers to devices like smartphones for streaming services. 2 Onkyo subsidiaries that handled the original equipment manufacturing, such as assembling speakers and other brands, and sales representation of audio equipment, filed for voluntary bankruptcy back in March. So, yeah, Canadian pesos there. Since then, Onkyo has essentially stopped doing business, except for the management of an already sold-off subsidiary as well. So, like, it was basically just a name that was out there. I think we covered way back that the company sold its core audio-visual business to Sharp and Vox International, and its headphones and earphones and headphones business went off to another investment fund company. That happened back in September. So Sharp and Vox are going to continue making Onkyo branded AV gear, and I guess maybe there'll be Onkyo branded earphones and headphones is what this kind of means to me. But 76 years, Onkyo, the company that didn't really sound like it had anything left to sell, was $24 million in debt, has gone under. 76 years. It's pretty sad. Have you guys owned any Onkyo equipment ever?
I have not. I've come across quite a bit, in the professional AV installation, but I only know them from AV receivers, and they weren't that popular. You saw them a fair amount, but they were nowhere near as popular as like a Denon or Yamaha or something like that. I was just kind of shocked that they were still a company, to be honest, just because I don't see them that often. So,
yeah, I can see at Circuit City, that was my favorite brand to sell because I sold a ton of the Harman Kardons, and like every one of them died or came back. And if you're on commission and a product came back, then you had to pay your commission back, which was not fun. So
Ooh.
I immediately switched to Onkyo. And back in the day, back in like the 90s, late 90s, the what was it, the late last decade or last century or whatever, they were a pretty good brand, and they had quality behind them. It was nice stereo equipment. So
Man, you had to pay back your commission even if they returned it because it was defective.
oh yeah,
Oh, that sounds awful.
it was awful. Yeah, Circuit City, man.
I think my mom had an Onkyo receiver, but this would have been back in the 70s or 60s. Yeah, I think it was one of those big, heavy ones, right? That sat on a shelf back in the days. You know, they used to have their little house parties with the huge speakers. You know, things got a lot smaller now, a lot more efficient now. It's not the same, but I'm pretty sure she had one back then, and I didn't even know what an Onkyo was, so I just knew how to turn it on.
Yeah, it always sounded like an awful name for like a pig or something. It was just like awkward to say Onkyo.
I think it means harmony or something in Japanese, but I can't remember exactly what it. I think it may be like a combination of two different words that they put together. But I was always, and I don't know if this is true, but I was always told they had like one of the first dual cassette deck. You know, back in like 1980 or 1981, you know, dual cassette deck where you could actually record, and that's kind of where they like took off, at least here in the States. So I don't know. I've seen those online. I'm not going to get one for the graveyard. I really don't need to add a giant component system to the tiny little IoT devices I've been collecting there in the background. But yeah, sad to see them go. 76 years is a long time to be in business. And it, at one time was pretty good product. Wow. I definitely have a soft spot for them in my heart, even though like I know that in the past, you know, number of years, I've purchased them and they've died. You know, like the receiver is just up and quit, and it's like, oh, this just isn't the same. It's not the same thing. Greg, yeah, run your did saying, I have one and it sucks, and I'll send you my Onkyo.
According to the Onkyo website, Onkyo means sound acoustics in Japanese.
There we go.
So
it did mean something.
Not off brand, at least.
No.
Learn something new.
There you go. All right, let's move on here. In the state of Arizona, Vivint Smart Home has finally settled with them a case that the Attorney General called false representations to introduce customers to induce customers to sign a contract. Provo-based Vivint has agreed to pay Arizona $325,000 in penalties and legal fees. It's also agreed to pay another $75,000 in restitution to its customers. In 2021, the FTC announced $20 million settlement with Vivint. According to those allegations, in that case, that Vivint staff were using what one FTC commissioner referred to as identity theft to use credit card histories of people who did not consent to sign up for an account to be co-signers. Lee Ward of Kingman, Arizona, says he's a Vivint customer who complained to the Arizona Attorney General. He said basically Vivint came to his house and said they do everything for about $45 a month. Around that ballpark, he said, okay, they jumped in, and all of a sudden he had an $80 per month contract. So the service was good. It was just overpriced, and the deception of the sales thing was what ticked him off. Anyway, any Vivint customer there in Arizona who thinks they were entitled to restitution has until June 30th to file a complaint. Are you going to miss out on that whopping $75,000? I'm sure that's not hurting Vivint at all. It's like
a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, lawyers got paid. So that's good.
Man. Well, I like how they say what they call as identity theft. It's like, is it identity theft or not? Like, we refer to it as that, but it might not be.
I don't know. Like stealing someone's credit information so you can like co-sign and get, you know, something financed. That sounds like identity theft. Like you probably shouldn't be doing that. Doesn't seem like it's a great business practice.
Yeah, and this basically backs up everything bad I've heard about Vivint. I've heard about this several times now. I've heard about, you know, basically just deceptive business practices in general, or just super overpriced service. So I mean, it's crazy to me that you could go into an agreement for $45 a month, and they send you a new one for $80 a month. I just don't understand that at all. How is this company still around?
That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, man. Well, I don't know. Gavin, you don't seem like a Vivint customer up there in Canada.
No, and I can't relate. I can't relate to this story because in Canada we don't have identity theft or anything like that. We're totally safe up here. No, we don't even know what that means up here. When we sign a contract, they never increase it on us. Not at all. Like I have contracts from the '60s still that I'm paying 30 cents for. Of course, that's all a lie. Like, you know what? It's come to the point now where when I sign a contract, I'm only expecting it to be at that price for 6 months. Whether I sign up for Netflix, I expect in 6 months there be some kind of price range or raise, and there's nothing we can do about it. It seems it's like my cell phone bill every 6 to 12 months they raise it by $5 more, right? What am I gonna do? What can we really do? I can't cancel my cell phone, and it's so much of a hassle just to go to another provider, I find. So we just end up paying it a lot of the time.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Once you think you're out, they pull you back in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on here to some more deceptive. No, wait, this isn't deceptive. This is just free TV.
Yeah, this is pretty obvious what it is.
So, and it's pretty on the nose what they named it. Amazon Freevee, which is an ad-supported streaming service that's formerly known as IMDb TV. It now has its own dedicated app on the Apple TV. Freevee, which was previously available on the Apple TV within like the Prime Video app, so just kind of in that kludge, is now got its own app, and it's available for download in the App Store. Freevee offers Amazon Studios shows as well as other free movies and TV shows. They recently signed a deal with Disney, so they can rotate in and out movies like Deadpool, Logan, and The Post, among other selections from Disney. Has over 75 channels for streaming. I thought this was kind of interesting. It includes an exclusive channel that only plays Kim's Convenience. There we go. That's brilliant. That's a feel-good channel, if you ask me. So. You won't be able to pick the episode that it's playing, but it's free, so it's really hard to complain about that.
It's like an iPod Shuffle, but video.
Yeah, exactly. The Freevee app is not only on the Apple TV, it's also on iOS, Android, Roku, and some LG, Samsung Smart TVs, Xbox, and the PlayStation. So, Gavin, are you going to just load up the Kim's Convenience? It's fine Canadian programming. You're going to load that up on and just watch it?
It's a pretty good show, actually. I watched a
it's
number
great.
of episodes. I enjoy Kim. But every time I hear these type of stories, I think we're going back towards cable. Now we're getting commercials back. They're calling it ads. I'm calling them commercials. And the part that's really makes me worried is we're going to start off with 1 6-second ad, to watch your show. But in 6 months, it's going to be 2 30-second ads plus a "Are you still watching?" click or something like that, that you'll have to get by. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and they're just going to jam ads down. It's, I'm not interested in this. If I'm paying for something, I don't want to see ads.
Right.
Netflix.
Yeah, I could totally see the appeal of this, though. I mean, a lot of people don't want to pay for a streaming service, so as long as you're getting some good quality content on there, it's a no-brainer for a lot of people. But I'm in the same boat. I don't want to watch anything with ads at this point.
Yeah. I would much rather just skip the ads. And they're not like the ones they have on those streaming services aren't really relevant. So, to me at least, like usually what you get on those are like the same commercial just over and over again. Like it could rotate 3 times during the show, and you watch the next show, it's the same commercial on the same rotation, and it's like, okay, I don't really need this or want this, but they're getting their ad plays, I guess. That's how that works.
So basically, if they made their ads better, it wouldn't be as annoying. Like if everything was like a Super Bowl ad, because Super Bowl is the only time when we actually sit there looking for the ads, right? And if you think about it, if they invested that, then we'd be okay watching ads. But
I've got $1 million idea for them. Super Bowl ad channel.
Oh, done. Genius.
Done,
it's just
done.
It's just the companies, the best companies in the world, making the best advertisements and then
No,
displaying
no,
them
no,
all the
not even
time.
that. Just replay from just start from the beginning of time, whenever, and just replay the commercials that were broadcast during the Super Bowl on this channel 24/7.
All right, that'll be one
There's some
streaming
classics.
service, and then we'll have another one with just new ones. Because we got to have multiple streaming services for the same thing. I mean,
Only during prime time would you have to play the new ones. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you could have another app completely set aside that can just do, the current on demand commercials. Really, that I think that'd be great. Budweiser, little frogs, Bud.
What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
We should start next show like that.
It's too good. Oh man, bringing back some memories. That was a common call to action in college.
Yeah.
oh, absolutely. For many, many years.
All right. Well, let's move on. And say goodbye to ads and move on to new gear. We got new gear, guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's start out with the cool one. And yet another Sonos leak from The Verge, where they have been able to confirm that Sonos will produce a smaller, more affordable subwoofer called the Sonos or the Sub Mini, Sonos Sub Mini. I guess I'm just going to call it Sub Mini or just the Mini. Why not? Rumors about such a device popped up a few months ago after Sonos accidentally spilled some of the early details in its mobile app. At the time, screenshots revealed the product's name, the Sub Mini, and The Verge was able to further corroborate the branding on that. So they were also, whoever this writer is at The Verge, it's also seen pictures or something of these things being manufactured. I'm not sure, but they've seen enough to have like a full 3D render on the website of this product. So no specs are available yet. So we'll have to wait and see for Sonos to basically drop that information on the product. It's a smaller sub, little cylindrical, has kind of that weird hole in the middle of it that Sonos likes to do. Looks good. But I think the only question that we really care about on this show is, what's this thing going to cost, guys? We need to draw some. We need to start betting on this. I think that's what we got to do. What is this thing going to cost in both U.S. and Canadian dollars? What are we going to do? I'm going to write them down.
I don't see how you could go above $449 for this subwoofer. American dollars, of course.
The current sub is $1,000, right?
$749.
Hold on. In Canada, it seems like we're paying a lot more. Yeah.
Well, your prices are crazy.
I have to look it up.
But yeah, in American dollaroos, it is $749.
So $749 for the sub. Yeah. All right. So $749.
So I'm guessing $449.
I'm gonna go with $599.
Ooh, see, I think that's too high.
Yeah, but we're talking about Sonos here, and Gavin and I were talking before the show. And anytime you think that Sonos is going to do something at a particular price point, it's probably going to be $100 more. So I'll say $599.
Yeah, but that I don't know, because that puts their, because I'm all aboard the Sub Mini. I live in a top floor of a apartment, and a Sub Mini would be perfect for me because I just don't need a ton of bass. I just need something. And this would be great. I don't know if I would be doing more than $449 for it though, because you can buy a used sub Gen 2 probably for like $500 or $600.
And that's like the Sub Mini is something exactly like I want. Just I didn't want the big sub. I wanted the Sub Mini. Just like how the Ray came out, I was like, that was just perfect. Just But no matter how much I think it is, it's always going to be more. And they always seem to price it at that level where it's like, well, I can get the Sub Mini for this much, or for another $200-$300. I can get the sub, they seem to do that really well. I'm going to go with the $600, I guess. That's probably a $750 Canadian guess. I'm going to go with that.
He's snaking me by $1. All right. So I've got TJ in at $459.
$449. Come on.
$449. Okay. $449.
Got to keep it on par with their other stuff.
I'm saying $599.
I guess.
And then and Gavin, you're gonna say in U.S. freedom dollars, you're saying it's gonna be $600.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the $1 above you.
So if it comes out at $620 29.
Yeah, I win.
You win all 3 showcase showdowns.
Does this include tax? Is this plus tax, including tax?
We don't do that VAT stuff
Yeah,
here.
we don't do
I
tax
even-
here,
I
so
don't do taxes. Yeah.
That's after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you don't have enough money for the tax, you don't get it.
All right, I've got it written down in our show notes there, so we'll have to come back to this whenever Sonos does spill the beans on it. But I agree with you guys. I'm excited about this one. I like the subwoofer. I really like the subwoofer. It's one of the products that really rounds out some good product that Sonos does release. But it's almost like you have to have that sub for them to perform optimally. Like it seems like Sonos sounds great by itself. Don't get me wrong. When you add that sub in, it's just a different world altogether with their product line. So I really do like what that sub does for the product. So I will be happy to see them if they come out with a lower cost one. It's not going to be $249. I guess we've all agreed on that.
Yeah.
It would be nice. It'd be nice if they could do $249, just like they did with the Ray, right? Or $279. What if they match the Ray? What if it's
Yeah, I definitely don't see that happening.
No, if they did, that's an insta buy for me, right?
Because a sub is like a luxury device, so they're able to charge more for it. You know, you don't need the sub, but it sounds better with the sub. So
I'll have surround subs at that price.
surround subs.
yeah, you can buy more than one.
Yeah.
maybe by the time this comes out, we can use our Sonos Ray as surrounds.
Yeah, you could just use. Well, I mean, just think about it. Like you could get a Sonos Ray. You could have that for your front. You can have the subs, and then what can you use the roams as surrounds?
No.
No. Okay, so you got to use starting at the ones, right?
Yep. Or the XTS speakers.
I don't even think you can use the moves.
So this is $200 for those, and then you're looking at another $300 for that. Yeah, so it'd be nice if they could price in somewhere $1,000 for a surround system, but looks like you're probably going to go over that with what we're predicting here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you're already at what $700 just for the
7, yeah.
sound bar and 2 surrounds.
Yep. Well, I'm saying if they could come in at like $275 to $300 somewhere in there, it'd be in the ballpark. But oh well, it's not my money. I mean, it will be, but it's not my
Could
money.
be.
I don't know. I've been. If it comes out and it's like $629, which is Gavin's guess there, I'm definitely going down to IKEA and ripping something apart because that project's gonna happen for sure. So. All right. I got another pretty cool product here from Ecobee following even more leaks. A smart home accessory maker Ecobee officially announced today new smart thermostat premium. They're really having problems with their product names over at Ecobee. It has new key features including a premium design and higher end materials, larger display, a refreshed user interface, improved sensor technology including an air quality monitoring, and more environmentally friendly packaging. Ecobee said the new thermostat is built with the company's most advanced sensor technology for improved temperature readings, occupancy detection, and motion detection. And while the new built-in air quality sensor monitors indoor air quality, including estimated levels of carbon dioxide, so CO2, and volatile organic compounds, VOCs, or toots, as we like to say. It's pretty much what it is, as well as relative humidity. Let's see, the thermostat displays the air quality status directly on the screen. Let's see, the Smart Thermostat Premium is available to order starting today on Ecobee's website for $249. And there's a lower end thermostat enhanced model without the features like the air quality monitoring and the voice control stuff that's built into that one. That's launching for $189, and the Ecobee 3 is going to remain down at $149. So they've got, I mean, all said and done, like Ecobee, it really does have a good round like portfolio of product that they have consistently been able to deliver on year after year. Like, how much can you do with a thermostat? And they've got all sorts of stuff built into this thing, like alarm system. You can kind of trick it to listen for glass break and that kind of stuff, and like Amazon, Siri, everything's built into it. So pretty good products. TJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a very nice device. It looks very similar, but Gavin was saying the interface looks updated. I I'm interested about the air quality sensors. I think that's a welcome addition. And the tie-in with security systems, I find fascinating. I don't know if has security systems just got super easy to do now because everybody has a security system and they're being built into everything. This one's built right into the thermostat, which is a cool idea, and it's only $10 a month. But
Yeah, I think the monitoring has got super simple. Like there's been
crazy how cheap it is. That's cheaper than I can get it for, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean the APIs, like what is that? Moon or Noom or something like that.
Noon, I think. Is
No,
it Noon?
Noonlight. No,
Noonlight. Yeah,
something
that's
like
right. Yeah, there's all these companies, and I think they're just one of a couple that have basically built, software connections into 911 call centers, and that's what has basically made everything kind of drop in price because you're kind of removing a little bit of the human element out of it when you do that. So instead of having a phone bank of a bunch of people laying around, it just directly calls 911 when you tell it to, which is nice. Gavin, you were saying you like the new interface on this thing, and that you were seeing other people did as well.
Yeah, I'm a big Ecobee fan. I have one of their older models, and it's still kicking along. Like I really have to look to see if it's worth the upgrade to this one. It's 330 Canadian, so it's a bit of change. I really like how Ecobee integrates with everything easily. They have an open API. That's great to see. I do like the integration with the Alexa and the Siri, because that adds extra features to it, and you can stream Spotify and Bluetooth from it. I don't know how many people will stream music from their thermostat, but
It just sounds awful if you ask me. It's like it's
Why not,
no.
though? You're paying $250 for it. Might as well have Bluetooth.
Exactly. They do mention that they have hands-free calling and intercom built in. I wonder if that's through the Amazon lady, because that's interesting to me, because that's always disabled in third-party products. So if that's not disabled in this third-party product, they have an agreement with Amazon for that. That I would find interesting. And what happened this week on Tuesday, there was a pricing error at Home Depot in Canada for this. So everybody was getting the premium at the enhanced price, right? So I tried to jump on it, but as soon as I got there too late. They finally fixed it. Aww. But enough people were posting pictures of, they got the premium one at the low price, everything.
Bunch of Canadian thieves. It's a good Canadian company up there. They're just trying to make a living and buy generators and stuff for their families, and you guys are ripping them off.
I know. When we find something good, we share it with all the other Canadians, and then we all, the most excited, the best ones are ones that get in early, because then they cancel it and stuff like that, and we all miss out, The thing about Canadians, when they find a good deal like that, though, they'll brag about it, so you really feel left out.
It's funny. That's funny. Yeah, well, it seems like, even at $250, it seems like a pretty good price for a smart thermostat, given all the stuff that it does. And I like the Ecobee because it is like pretty ubiquitous. Like I can use it for HomeKit, or I can tie it in with the Control4 system. I could tie it into Amazon if I wanted to, or Google. Like they just kind of like, they work with whoever, and that's the way a good smart home product should be. I don't know like how long term like that holds up, because it's probably really hard to do and keep up with all those integrations year after year, but they seem to be still able to do it and move their product forward every year. So that's kind of nice.
Well, for the most part, they just publish an API and everybody else integrates with them. So it's not really that difficult for them. But, with the air quality sensor, I really like that built in. I just hope that they will release a mini sensor that also has it built in, so we can see the air quality, around the house, and not just where the thermostat sits, right? That would be
not
cool.
Too close to the bathroom, or that VOO or whatever is just going to go red alert, red alert.
Pulling in your bathroom to mess with everything.
Yeah.
He's that little fainting canary. He's just going to like flop over and die on the wall there.
The sensor will get triggered.
That'd be a good tie-in.
I wonder how many people are going to blame the dog when the sensor gets triggered.
Yeah. What's crazy too is I think that canary thing was more expensive than this Ecobee thermostat. The Kickstarter was only like $130, but I think the MSRP was like $280 or something like that.
I think it was $279. Yeah, I think you're right.
So you can buy an Ecobee instead of that.
Well,
There you go.
It's infinitely more useful, the Ecobee, not the Canary. But
I was gonna say the Canary is definitely a lot cooler looking, but definitely not worth it.
yeah. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on this one. I haven't seen the new user interface, but I'm glad that they've updated it. The old one was kind of, I don't know. I have one of the first generation ones that I use, and it's okay. Like, but it's not very intuitive to change the temperature, and they've actually changed it over time. I noticed it walked up to the other day, and I moved the slider on the side, and instead of like having like this really small target area that I can move it in, I was able to just move a couple of degrees, and it's all I wanted to do. But in the past, it's been like just a pain to use that interface, so I've avoided it, and I just used the app or something. I don't know. Seems like they're always working on something over there, which is nice. They're always in. It's always good to have a product that's continually improved over time.
You see, that's the thing. I barely use the interface because we just tell our voice assistant what to set the temperature to, right? Like the only time I ever noticed the thermostat is when I walk by and it actually lights up the screen because it detects motion, right? But other than that, if I want to know what the temperature is in various rooms, we ask the voice assistant or we adjust it. So that's why I like this one.
Yeah, mine even has the flare system laid over the top of it, so it even further complicates things when I'm like, I have completely different set points set up for it, and the Ecobee is either on or off depending on what the flare system was telling it to do, which causes some minor confusion here in the house. Let's just say between people who like to go over and make sure that I don't have it turned down too cold in the house. It's Florida though, man. It's hot. It's always hot. All right, guys, let's move on here. We've got some new. The last new gear that we've got is from a big company called TP-Link, which is better known for Wi-Fi routers and smart home gear, but it's aiming to change their reputation. The company's launched the Tapo, T-A-P-O. I don't know how they're going to say that, but let's just call it Tapo. Smart home line that revolves around budget 2K resolution security cameras. Indoors, you can pick from a stationary Tapo C110 for $30 or the pan and tilt Tapo C210 for $35. Huh. I would just get that one. 35. Okay. Anyway, go outdoors and you can choose between the basic night vision and IP66 weather resistant Tapo C310 for $50 or upgrade to the C320WS, which is $60. It has a starlight sensor in it, spotlights, and two-way audio. All the cameras can record on micro SD storage, so that's nice. So up to 256 gigabytes. Or you can use the Tapo Care subscription. It comes with 30 days of video history and perks like baby crying detection, which I don't think would work really well outside, but I guess if a baby was crying outside, you probably want to know. They aren't just stopping there. So the company is also releasing LED RGB lights. So they have a light strip. The Tapo Smart L900-10 really working me over on these model numbers. They've gotten progressively longer too. Anyway, it's for gamers and anyone that's hoping to liven up their rooms. It's a $45 pack, offers a 32.8 foot strip with support for 16 million colors, dimming, and music sync built in. Is this the new Wise?
No. Definitely nowhere near as good. And I'll have everyone know I just bought the strip lights, so I'll have them tomorrow. Have to see how they work.
From TP-Link or from Wise?
Yeah, from TP-Link.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Those ones are available for next day delivery. I was looking at the 2K camera with the giant flappy wings on it. It looks like a bird. I love it. But I really don't have any other reason for an outside camera right now, so cannot justify it.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to fly away. Like,
I would be afraid of a bird attacking it or something, right? It's like thinks it's going to attack it instead.
yeah. What if it has an air quality sensor built into it and it flips over when it detects?
I'll blame the dog.
Yeah,
There you go.
you blame the dog.
But the LED light strip is not off to a good start. In the description, it says it has automatic control that you can do with a Tapo sensor. But it says Tapo sensor sold separately. The connectivity to Tapo sensor will be released later in 2021.
Wait, what? So how do you control it? with an app.
Well, I
guess?
think it's just like a motion sensor or something.
Oh, okay.
So you can like tie it into a motion sensor. But it's not good if this just came out and the product is going to come out last year. Where's it at?
Yeah, well, that's kind of how everything is these days. Yeah,
That's true.
Interesting. Like these cameras don't look terrible, and for the price, $35 for the indoor like pan tilt zoom camera. I think it's even like higher than what Wise's pan tilt indoor cameras. I think they're like $40. So a whole $5 more, and you could get the Wise there. So I don't know. It would be interesting. I think one of the things that has gotten Wise a little bit further down the road, not besides their like cheap prices, is that they do have like people have gone and like hacked them, and I don't know if they've like reluctantly let them hack them or just kind of like let people do what they wanted to with them. But it seems I was looking the other day, and there was a bunch of like hacked things for Wise cameras that I was looking at, and I was going, any other company would be like shutting this down. I don't know. Wise seems to be like, yeah, just buy our hardware and you can use the logins for this stuff and run backdoor services on our products, and we don't care.
Well, I feel like that's probably true though, because like for the longest time they had RTSP support on the cameras, not directly. Like somebody came up with some hacked firmware for it, and then Wise was just like, all right, you guys can do this.
Yeah, and Wise makes money a lot off their services and stuff, and the fact that they have a whole ecosystem now that works together with each other, they make money off of that. So hacking the cameras aren't as like attractive anymore. It's more like getting everything to work together, and nobody can outwise Wise at this point. They've got everything covered. At this point, I mean, I was trying to think of other things they could come out with. Maybe a Wise coffee maker at this point. I would probably purchase one of those. They're getting into that market, but they got everything covered right now.
Somebody needs to send them that SwitchBot video we had like a month or two ago. They'll come out with a automatic toilet flusher.
Ooh, yeah.
That would be a great
there we
addition.
go. We could have the Wise. Yeah.
You could do that with the air quality
Wise.
sensor from Ecobee, so that way when somebody poos, it automatically flushes.
The 10 in the L900-10, that's 10 meters. So LEDs and everything are all done in meters and centimeters. And when you go to cut them, it's usually in like 100 centimeter sections. But like we have to convert them over here to our Freedom units. And it's like always these weird 32.8 or 16.4 or whatever. It's like drives me nuts. I wish.
If you need help converting, we're so used to it. Just ask me.
It's crazy to me that like patch cables are done in meters, bolt cables done in feet, LED light strips are done in meters. It's such a mismatch.
They're done in feet though. They're done in feet. Like here in the States, they're done in feet. I mean, like they're clearly they're clearly made. 10 meters is 3.80839 feet or whatever. So like, they're clearly manufactured in centimeters and meters, but unfortunately we have to convert them to 16.4 or, I mean, I don't know why LED lights and strips have settled in on feet. Like, why not meters? Like just like HDMI cables, like you need a 9 or a 3 meter HDMI cable. why did they settle in on feet? It just this one in this particular product just drives me crazy. So
now you know how I feel when I watch CNN and see the temperature reports. I sit there doing math through the whole program.
It's a tough life up there with your no fraud and math you have to do.
That's why we have a great school system for conversions. And free health care for when things go wrong.
Yeah, you can't pull the wool over this man's eyes. He's always doing math on CNN, so there's no fooling a Canadian.
Yeah,
it's just all right. Well, I don't know. I do like the price points of the cameras. I hope they're pretty good. They look decent. The little wings are cute. I don't know if I would personally put them anywhere, but
Greg's a TP-Link fan, so I've always used TP-Link for like their networking switches and that kind of thing. I've never used them for anything more advanced than that, though. But they make heck of a cheap switch. So yeah, and sometimes in stock, like it's pretty much all you can get these days. Sometimes, so yeah, becoming more of a brand name just by the default, I guess, at this point in time.
All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps everything up that we've had for HomeTech Headlines. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/388. All right, guys. Pick of the week this week. This is a fun one. Added into the stream. This I ran across this, and this is probably the coolest use of. Is this augmented reality? I guess this is not really
Well, we can't see what that guy's doing, so I wouldn't say it is. But supposedly the guy with the hard hat on and stuff is using VR.
Oh, okay.
But we don't see what he's seeing, so I couldn't.
All right.
Say
So
that.
let's like describe this for people who are not watching the live stream, which is only one person at this point. But Jason Griffin was here, and he had to bail. I was gonna go probably take care of the family this time of night. But anyway, thanks Jason for stopping by. This is like one of those large rooms that has the projection systems in it that are basically mapped to the floor, and everything's all lined up. So this is like a warehouse size room, and it looks like the entire floor is a projection screen in here, and there are people walking around, and what they have projected on the floor is actually the floor plan of this house. And so you're able to, in like actual feet and inches, because it's American, right? You're able to walk into this house and see exactly how big your kitchen sink will be or your living room is going to be. You can walk right up to the countertop space and visualize it that way rather than kind of like seeing it on a plan in front of you. Honestly, I would love to have something like, or to have had something even remotely like this when I was selling stuff, because we could just go around and just drop our speakers in each room and say, this is where this is going to be. We'll put the TV right here on the wall. This is amazing. This is a really great idea and use of this technology.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, is that like you could even partner up with like an interior designer or something if you had this technology and like fit out the whole house with whatever furniture or carpet or rugs or whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you could see how it all actually fits in there.
Yep.
The only way I would see this as better is if they could do like virtual walls somehow so you could actually walk through it. But obviously I think we're a little far off that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess anything is possible with enough money and time. But like, I've actually seen. I think somebody was showing that off at in one of our home tech talks. Not recently. There was like a kitchen that they could just project the finishes on, and you when you walk into the showroom, you basically pick out your finishes, and they just project it on this kind of a generic kitchen, so you can get the look and feel of it, and you see all the finishes and what the finished product would actually look like in front of you. I'm not sure who was talking about that, but they did show us a video or some pictures, and I thought that was a pretty good idea. I really like this use of like projection technology. If anybody's familiar with it, like the Van Gogh thing that's been going through, it's been on tour for a while. This is kind of the same idea where it's just like a bunch of high-end projectors strewn up on a ceiling on some scaffolding, and they just shine down on walls and floors and that kind of thing, and just it's not as like disorienting to look at than you think. Like this, it's actually looking at this video, I'm like, oh man, this could make you sick after a while. But when being in there when stuff is actually moving and that kind of thing, it wasn't disorienting. Like it was really cool to just be immersed in that experience. And in this case, like you can build your entire house and set like, oh, this wall I don't like, I would like to have more room here. One of these, like the scenes here, they've got like a chair sitting in the living room or something. It's like, what if you put a chair there and you sat there and you looked around and said, no, I'd really like this room to be bigger, move this wall back some, and they could just go right over the CAD and just kind of like move stuff around for you right then and there. That's pretty cool.
It looks like one of the guys is like, he's got the goggles on, he's immersed in it. It looks like he's having a great time, and it looks like he's like moving stuff around and doing things that we can't see. But this whole AR has come so far that every time the camera pans over and I see the chair come into view, I also think that's fake too for some reason. It just doesn't look, it just doesn't look right, like right there. But this is such a cool concept.
Yeah, it really is. TJ, you were saying you could team up with a interior designer or something, but like you could team up with a couple of trades in the area and just build like this into a giant warehouse. Throw the plans up there and use it as like a shared space. If the technology and software and everything was easy to use, or your average Joe sales guy could walk in and go through the plans and do their walkthrough real fast. I think this would be beneficial to more than just the AV trades. And clearly, this is a builder. It looks like William something Homes or something like that. Can't quite read it. It's a little small on my screen.
It's William David Co. Company.
Yeah, I think it's one of the bigger home builders here in the States. They don't have them here, but I've heard the name before. But yeah, I like this. I hope we start seeing more stuff like this existing out in the real world for real people, because this is technology. It makes things helpful. And if you get like in there and you're like, man, I really like how these projectors look. Maybe I get a home theater or something, maybe sell some home theaters with it. It looks fun. I want to go play in this room and walk around in a very large house that doesn't exist on the floor. It looks like a lot of fun.
I just think
honestly,
you will never look cool when you're in VR world to someone outside of VR world, like there's never going to be a point where it's like, that guy looks so cool.
I think it'll just go the way of cell phones. Like whenever you saw someone, 10, 15 years ago walking around with a cell phone in public, you're like, man, that person's totally disconnected from reality and they don't know what's going on. And now it's like, that person's not on a cell phone. What are they doing?
They're disconnected from our virtual reality.
Yeah.
They're a serial killer.
Yeah. Now if you see somebody at a coffee shop that's not like they're just sitting there enjoying their coffee, you're like, that's a psychopath right there.
Yeah. What is that
stalker? Everybody's watching him.
Exactly.
He's using up space that we need.
Why isn't he on Wi-Fi? This is ridiculous. All right. Well, if you have any ideas for show feedback, questions, comments, or picks of the weeks, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@hometech.fm. You can visit hometech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form there. All right. That wraps up another week. I've got a TV show I started watching. One of those guilty pleasure TV shows, I guess. So have you ever heard of this thing called Halo? I guess it was a video game that was kind of popular.
Xbox. Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't realize they made that. I didn't realize they made that into a TV show.
Yeah, it's on the Paramount Plus. I think it's a Showtime TV show, because it does kind of have some like buttocks in it. I guess it's not really. I was like, oh, it's gonna get risque here, and then like, no, it was just very basic TV. I guess they could put this on any channel. I think there's language in it, but other than that. It's exactly what you think it is. Space, aliens, shoot 'em up,
Overcomplicated story.
jarheads. Yeah, not very complicated story.
Well, it's one of those stories that you have to, if you're not paying attention to it, then you're lost again. You gotta rewind it and figure out like what's going on. But then you just ignore it and you're caught back up into some other story. So it's all right.
Well, the main character to me sounds like Vera DeMilo, which was Jim Carrey's character on In Living Color. I don't know if you remember that one. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I don't.
So yeah, well, we'll just go ahead and skip into this here, and I can actually share this back because I add it back to the stream there. Let's. So yeah, Vera DeMilo was one of like Jim Carrey's like amazing characters, and like if you ever watch him, this character appears quite often in some of his comedy later on in his career. But very early on, when he was hanging out with comedians like J-Lo was in Living Color. Everybody seemed to be in Living Color. It was crazy. A good show. And yeah, if you listen to Halo and you think Vera, then you can't unhear it. But yeah, I'll take that away from the show.
Thanks for ruining it for me, Seth. Thanks for ruining it.
I don't know. He's like he's like a soldier or something, and he's genetically engineered, and he's just kind of like a jarhead, just kind of like doing his thing as a soldier, and that's all he thinks about. And shenanigans happen.
He gets
and,
a conscience, and he goes against.
He gets a conscience. Yeah, they deprograms and that kind of thing.
And there's a sex scene.
There is Master Chief.
That's not in the video games.
It's canon now. I'm sorry, you can't no take backs.
Jeez.
He kept his helmet on.
He did.
The closest thing to that in the video games was teabagging. So,
well, that's what he did the whole time. It was a really awkward sex scene. So
I'm glad they brought it back at least.
Pretty good show. Like Gavin's saying, you don't have to think much. You can leave it on in the background and watch it. But yeah, I kind of took a break from my Star Trek binging there for Discovery, and switched over to that because I had heard a few people talking about it, and I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And yeah, not bad. Not a bad show. Can't complain for, Paramount Plus, I guess. They got to have something on there to watch.
And Star Trek Brave New Worlds is amazing if you really want to see that. That one I highly recommend.
TJ's just shaking his head down there, but he's too busy. Like, is it cake or did I have my hunter license or whatever?
Hey, don't hate on Lone Star Hall now.
Too good.
If it makes you feel any better, we went back to House this weekend, so we're going even older.
That's old school. Yeah. Hugh Laurie.
That's right.
Yeah. We were sitting around trying to figure out what we're going to watch next, and we were pulling some things up that were kind of on the Netflix queue. Watched about 20 or 30 minutes of it. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to watch this. It's just like skip next one. Those are just unforgettable, or just forgettable shows, I guess. And
I would say like 3/4 of my TV watching now is just looking for something to watch. So
it's a first world problem to have, right? All right, guys. Well, we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather just about every day and talk about, what are we talking about? There's been a lot of stuff flying in there lately. Greg put in this crazy thing. I don't know what this multi-input recorder switcher thing for $2,100. And
yeah, the YOLO box.
Yeah, YOLO box. Yeah, there's been a lot of good conversations that have gone on over the last couple of weeks.
The idiot sandwich meme or GIF is always a great one.
Beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, just a lot of good conversations. I saw even before that there was like some questions. See, the Slack, it's kind of like one of those like Wild West things. Like it's self-moderating, right? So like I don't really do anything on there because everybody on there is, it's ladies and gentlemen only. Like it's an elite club. We don't let the riffraff in. We'll kick them out if they come in. But everybody in here is just, really wants to help this community. So we get all these really good questions. But one of the things that's happened is that threads have started to appear in Slack, and this is a new feature in Slack where you can reply, and like you don't see all the replies until you like go into it. And I miss so much with threads. I have not ever been able to figure out how those work in Slack. So all the good stuff's in threads now, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at and say.
I don't understand your dislike of threads. I mean, I guess they make sense to me, but maybe not.
I don't know.
I
just mainly don't like how they're implemented in Slack. Like they just seem to be.
They're just side conversations the way I look at them, and I think you can see threads that are updated at the top or something like that. But
you can, but there's not
top left. But that only counts for the ones that you've commented on.
Exactly.
So that's where that kind of stinks. But yeah, you can just go to threads in the top left and it'll pull up all the ones that you've been part of.
Anyway, Slack, thank you so much for your free product that we use.
we're complaining about a free product here.
Y'all are nice.
But I'm not a fan of the thread things. I wish it was like unfolded a little bit or something inside where I can actually see what people are talking about without diving into it.
Like anyway, expanded view or something.
Yep, something a little extra. Anyway, if you want to help out the show but can't financially support, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in podcast app of your choice to help people find the show. That wraps up another week in Home Tech. From everyone here, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.